What is up, people? Hello, and welcome back to the Cup Chasers podcast. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. It is the final season review, the final review of tiers. No, just the end of the season. It has come. It's been a long one, a good one. And Manchester City, of course, four-peat, historic, absolutely incredible. Got to give them their props. Is Pep the greatest ever? What does this say about his legacy? Is this the best team ever as far as England is concerned? Definitely have a shout, but it's up for debate, of course. Chelsea fans are happy, sort of. Depends on who you're asking. A wonderful end to the season.
Never a dull day. Never a dull day. And that's what makes following this club so much fun, because
no
you just
good deed
never
goes
know what's going to
unpunished,
happen
bro.
next.
Absolutely. No good deed goes
Win
unpunished.
5. That is so Chelsea. Win 5 on the bounce, fired. Win the Champions League. Oh, 6th in the league. Yeah, fired. That's definitely
If he'd
Chelsea.
have brought home silver, I'm standing on this. If he'd have won the cup, because that's when I turned Poch out after we lost the final.
Yeah,
Had he won the final, I still believe he got a job.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess we'll never know at this point. The Arsenal, big summer ahead of the Arsenal, as Mikel Arteta said. It's silverware next season. It's a must. Got to have a big summer again. Definitely had a wonderful season. Proud of the guys, but come up just short in the end. That's not necessarily the worst thing you can say against possibly the greatest team we've ever seen. But of course, there is an FA Cup final to be played. The second Manchester derby in an FA Cup final in 2 years. Also, those are the first two ever. But they come back to back in the FA Cup finals. So on top of all of Man City's history, they're looking to do back-to-back doubles, which is a rare occurrence. Perhaps not for Manchester City, but in general, of course. But of course, let's go ahead and smash up the likes. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. We're on our way to the magical 1,000. And get that little notification bell on for all the upcoming content. All right. As I said, congratulations, Lewis.
Yep.
4 in a row. I wouldn't know how that feels. How are you feeling, sir?
I mean, no game or no accomplishment goes unappreciated. So, I mean, I think, it's always about an opportunity, that every moment is history. So they won. I'm happy for them. It was a good time. I think it's always exciting when there is an all or nothing game, right? I mean, I think somebody said it would have been interesting if Arsenal and City played each other. I think that game would have been a very, very different, scenario. I think the game would have been like super open. I think they would have been stabbing each other in the face.
We would have had to come for it.
Blood and gore. It would have been wonderful. And you take it. I think Foden scoring so quickly really released a lot of the tension in the game, because it was like a minute and like 20 seconds. And
this is why I'm player of the season.
And the funny thing is, I felt like that was something that he needed to do or was going to do to sort of cement it, because, City's already dealt with detractors and stuff. And since Foden has been like a lifelong supporter of the team, I think he felt the opportunity to make a mark. Because there's people who were saying, when he won the award, that he didn't deserve it, right? And, I think it's just a matter of saying, if you don't think I deserve it, well, let me make sure that we do what's necessary, so I have all the boxes ticked next to it. But, he came straight out. You could see they were feeling it. They were excited. There was a question, obviously throughout the season of, are they motivated? Are they up for it? And, is it just going through the motions? You could see from the emotion from the first goal that it mattered to them. Like, it absolutely mattered. And, all the games matter. And that excitement, because I think there was a comment, I don't know if it was with you guys or somewhere, where they said the win in the game before in the celebration against Spurs was something that showed that they were feeling pressure. And, pressure applies all the time. It's how you react to the pressure. And that goal took a lot of it off. And it was a matter of, from my perspective, respecting that Arsenal pushed all the way to the end. And I give them respect that abounds, because they played really well. And I mean, I understand, their goal, but there's nothing, if we're being honest, to hang your head on, because it wasn't, at the end of the day, if we're looking at just the last day, it wasn't in your hands anyways. Like you had no say in the outcome. So it's different. This is where the point about if they played each other is different. And so with that, history, for some, in reality, for others, it's whatever it is. But 4 in a row, first time in history, I think that's pretty cool. Pep doing Pep things, and who knows, maybe one more season or 10, I don't know. But, it's all appreciated. And as you said, there's still another game. It's super important. Apparently, there's history on the line for this one, too, because this would be the first time there would be back-to-back domestic doubles. And
I knew it was something like that. Yeah,
it's back-to-back domestic doubles. It'll be the first time if it is accomplished on Saturday. So they, again, playing for history. I think that matters. And I look at it. You mentioned, I was talking briefly about the table thing, and it's just, and somebody said something along the lines of that a team has to be perfect against City. And I don't think you have to be perfect, but I think what you do have to do is you have to maintain your focus on what you're doing. And I know I've said this for the last 2 seasons. You really can't think about anything outside of what's going on your field and your locker room, because that's all City does. City don't care about nobody else's results. They could care less. They understand the history that they made with 4 in a row was only theirs. So they can't care about someone else's history. And the history that they have potentially pending is their own. Last year, it was their own. Everything is your own history. And if you worry about what other people do, then it doesn't matter. I mean, I don't, if you all saw it on the interweb or whatever, where there's been a lot of comment or responses or backlash to Rodri saying it's a mentality thing.
Hey, Bowman.
Where Rodri said it was about a mentality thing. And a lot of people took it and it's like, oh, well, Arsenal doesn't have the mentality. That's not what he's saying. It's really about what I said. It's just the focus. You can't care about anybody else. You really can't. If you start worrying about what other people are doing, then you have completely lost the plot. And it's and as simple as it sounds, that's all it is. There's nothing else. Like, for example, you give people props. Like, I can easily give Chelsea credit, which I give them tons of credit for the second half run they had, and I can give Arsenal credit for what they did. But that doesn't take away what I want or what we've accomplished. It doesn't take anything away. And there's a willingness to accept that, is it possible that the result I want doesn't happen? Absolutely. But since that's not on my radar, why would I think about it? Why would I even speak it into reality of what it is? The only thing I know is history is on the line, and whatever the result is the result. That's it.
Well, I'm gonna need y'all to win this weekend, so
yeah,
you will need us to win.
Continue making history.
Complete that history, please.
I mean, I'm assuming they want to.
I would think so. I mean, you don't want to end the season losing to your neighbor.
Well, I have no idea what you're talking about in terms of that. All I know is that there's a cup final and it is in London, and they like playing at that stadium.
Let's be honest. No one. There's no one even in England that expects. There's no one even wearing red in Manchester that expects to win that game.
But see, that's again back to my point. I don't care what anyone else thinks. All I want is them to focus to win the game. When 90 minutes is done, the only thing that I care about seeing is that you had more points than the other team. That's it.
Well,
I don't care about them.
I think it's two things. One, I think it's playing to a standard, which we've seen with Pep. Y'all just continue to build and build and build and build, and I think that's part of playing to the Pep standard. But it also reminds me of the, I guess, cliche or quote or phrase, lion doesn't concern itself with the opinions of a sheep or the talk of a sheep. And that's what it is. Y'all are the lion, and until someone knocks you off your perch, you're always the lion, and you have the talent to back it up. You have the coaching to back you up. And I think the only time that y'all really felt the pressure of Arsenal being like, okay, we might be able to still win this was the Spurs game. I think that's the only time. I fully expected y'all to go into the West Ham game like, we got this. We don't have to worry about anything else.
Just like they did.
We do.
But even then, think about it. Like the hoodoo, it was set up that way where think that City went through a rough spell in the first half of the season, and then that they had to play Spurs. So City never gets a chance to run away from any of their boogeyman. It's in front of them. So, hey, you got to beat Spurs. Okay, cool. So now we beat them. And guess what? Now the next time you got to play them, one time is to play them to advance into a cup. This one is to advance to win. So you literally get the opportunity to practice what you want. So you practice that. I mean, people like, City hadn't scored in the league here. Yeah, but we just beat them the last time we played. Yeah. And said it. They said, well, the only memory I have is they beat us here. That's the only one I got. Yeah. So I mean, I don't know why we're thinking about anything else.
Yeah.
And you keep it in an isolated moment. So you kind of let it be what it is. For example, but Patrick, you said something about the players. I saw something. I think I sent it to you guys where I think it was the United dude. I don't remember his name. Mark something.
Goldbridge.
Where he said that
Goldfish.
Where he said Jurgen Klopp was a better manager than Pep. Now I'm never going to question if Jurgen is a good manager. No one's going to question that.
No.
But he literally said Pep couldn't go to Liverpool and do what he did.
Yes,
like Pep did. And he said Pep didn't train anybody up, and I'm like, yeah, because everyone was going for Phil Foden and Akanji, and the funny thing about Rodri, and the biggest one is they talk about Rodri because he was at Atletico and he's like, but Partey was starting over him, so you got that. So he's taking guys that people have miscast and says I can do something with them. Kyle Walker was at Spurs. Well, you already know what he had to wash off of that, and you look at that, and you got a bunch of guys who came to the team who had never won anything. Haaland never won anything before he got to City. He never had real pressure on him, right? De Bruyne was a right. Nobody knew who Diaz was. Ederson, nobody knew Ortega. Ortega was playing second division German football, but he didn't fix nobody. He didn't do anything for anyone.
Never.
And so you look at it and you're like, I'm cool. You're reaching.
Well, I mean, if you think about
Liverpool, if Pep went to Pool would be
monsters.
They'd
be absolute monsters.
Almost as successful, if not as successful.
Right. And then you say they don't spend money. Liverpool spent. I just.
For me, Pep is the difference. The difference.
So the funny thing is people are recognizing that, and they're saying this, which again sets up sort of the challenge for the organization. They're like, well, when Pep leaves, City won't be good anymore. Okay, well, all of a sudden, all the players who are fairly young, there's like, 3 guys that are old? So those players are just going to forget mentality. And City is going to completely get a manager that doesn't even come in line. Now, Pep is the intangible, yes, but we're acting.
Yes, it will. Lewis, you will see a drastic drop
No, sir.
It won't be
Absolutely.
dramatic.
Get out of
It
here.
won't be
Bro,
that
bro,
dramatic.
from the level Pep has, every team Pep has ever gone to play for, managed for, every team plays and elevates themselves because of the ability he has to build them together and piece that puzzle together.
Yeah, but that's not true.
I believe.
But he's already done
believe
that. He's already done that. That team is there,
That's
though.
not true.
No. Yeah.
But, it's
But
not true.
I've seen it from a club who has seen it, gone from great managers to other great managers.
But that's
All
your
it takes
ownership.
is
That's
one
ownership.
locker room and removing one of those guys out of that team, and you will see it absolutely dominant. I'm not saying City are going to fall off. I'm saying City will not.
You said drastic.
You
said drastic.
bro.
Well, I'm going to tell you why that's incorrect. I'm going to give you why it's incorrect. He was at Barcelona.
Pep the GOAT.
He was at Barcelona. What did Barcelona do the year after he left? And then what did they do several years after that? It took
Yeah, hold on. Let's step that back. Let's take that back a second. Leo Messi has just as much of an effect on.
But I just said Messi. We can't skip that. I said Messi.
That's what Barcelona did the year after, because the year after Pep was because Messi was there. Is my point.
Wait.
And scored 97 goals. That was
wait a minute. So we're not going to let me finish the context, because Pep left, and then Messi was there, but then they also brought in Suarez and they brought in Neymar. So we're not going to pretend like these guys weren't there, because then they changed managers. Enrique was suspect as hell, but guess what? There was still a culture there because there was still the core there. So we're not going to pretend, and we can literally look at Enrique and say he wasn't the manager, but they still did it because it was the culture of the team. And if you look at Barcelona now, if the ownership wasn't bad, they would be good. And
yeah, Real Madrid, but now you're talking about Real Madrid starting their dynasty. Real Madrid absolutely won everything after.
But I'm not talking about Madrid.
Because Real Madrid is ran well. Because Real Madrid is a well-run club.
I'm saying, and it takes.
Or the president owns Spain. It's one of the two.
As soon as that rubber band alleviated,
but
and Pep is gone, and the difference is gone.
But that's not the difference, because
entire dynasty.
But that's incorrect, because before Pep came, Pellegrini was there, and we're saying City wasn't good with Pellegrini. That's what we're saying.
I'm saying City's better with Pep than he is with
Pellegrini. But
that's
not. But you said drastically fall off. So
yes. Look at what happened to Barcelona. If you want to use it as a case study,
but it took Messi leaving and poor management.
No, it really didn't. It really. They still won the La Liga. They dropped off in European competition.
No, they dropped off the Champions League.
Once after Pep left.
Still Champions League.
Chelsea took it from them. They hated playing us.
But that's not the point I'm making. The point I'm making is about the organization. And so now we're going to go to Bayern, right? And Bayern has an established thing. He goes there and they're good, and he leaves. And once your organization is run correctly, then the spine of the team, it's basically what you've talked about with Chelsea, where even though it comes from the manager, you mentioned the players. Once you got players in place, which I mentioned that the players are fairly young, and their recruiting department, the ownership is the same. The person who does all the signing, the training is there, the academy is there. The only difference would be Pep. And all you got to do, if we're being realistic now, he's not Pep, is get a manager who either Pep has trained or is in line with. Is he going to get the same results? No, but to believe that the team is going to fall off like that, that's false, because that's United. And the reason United fell off, and we all know the reason for that, the reason United fell off is because Ferguson did everything. And so when he left, they had zero succession plan. City is literally aware that Pep is going to leave, and they're doing everything. Just like before he came, they're doing everything to keep things in line with who is going to be the next manager. We all know this. And then think about how many academy guys are coming through. So you're seeing academy guys playing the system, playing for the manager, which means whatever they're teaching on the top level, the senior team, is being taught in the academy. So why? I mean, would other teams have the potential to get something over them that Pep isn't there for? Absolutely. Do you see the same end of the season run? Maybe not. But that's not a guarantee, because we're also assuming that the next guy up is not good. Nobody knew Pep was good until he was good.
I'm saying the next guy's not going to be able to hold. There's very few managers in history who can hold a candle to Pep now.
And last 2 seasons. But when Pep came in, people are like, well, could he hold anything to Cruyff or Ferguson? And then he did. So we're acting like the next guy can't be the next guy. For example, at Arsenal, I'm going to give you the perfect example. I think Arteta is a fantastic manager. Fantastic manager. And the only reason, same as Klopp, that Arteta hasn't won anything is because of Pep. It's the same reason, if we go backwards, why Wenger didn't win everything, because of Ferguson. But that's not to say Ferguson is not that guy, right? And it's not saying Wenger wasn't that guy, because if Ferguson doesn't exist, Arsenal runs over the league. They finished second 8 times. Like so to say there's not a next guy.
It's always a bridesmaid, bro.
Hey, man, I'm not trying to insult you. I'm actually giving you props based on the fact that you have this one anomaly guy that's just the anomaly guy.
When do I get the anomaly guy?
You have
Leicester stole your anomaly season, bro. Like, that was your chance, and they absolutely jacked it from you. They're like, oh, no, everyone else is bad. Arsenal's kind of bad. No, Leicester win the league.
But then, at Chelsea had Mo and they had Ancelotti. I mean, it just shows you where Ferguson is. That's what Ferguson was, but it didn't say other guys couldn't do it, because when Ferguson disappeared, or Ferguson had moments, Mo for sure did what he needed to do, and Wenger gave Ferguson hell. He gave him hell.
Now might be coming back, baby.
I think you should bring him back personally.
Yeah, why not?
That's not happening.
No, he's way too abrupt for our ownership, for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure. Let me ask you this, Lewis. I'm not going to ask what is the best of the 4. What was your favorite team? Not like what team was the best, or probably the treble winners, but what team was your favorite? Not necessarily what was your favorite season, your favorite win, but what team did you enjoy the most of this 4-peat?
I'd say last year's.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's a lot to like about last year's team.
Last year's team looked like that team probably was peak. It's probably
dominating.
That team was sure that team would beat this year's team.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Even with a hamstrung KDB.
I think hamstrung KDB is better than post hamstrung KDB.
There's an argument there.
There's an argument there.
But there was a depth in that team that was very different than this one. Laporte was there. I thought Laporte was a fantastic player.
Yeah,
Mars was
doing things.
You don't need Laporte when Gvardiol's hitting ice beam, hyper beam bangers from 45 out. Like,
I hear you, but the thing is, Laporte and that Laporte-Stones duo was something serious. When both of them at 26 years old, something serious.
They had a good chemistry together.
And so, so that's why I would say last year, the year before. I mean, obviously, this season is not over yet, but I think this team is growing into that personality. I like the young players. There's a lot of young players in the team. I know people don't like to hear that. There's a lot of young players. Gvardiol is 21. Rico Lewis is 18?
Oscar Bob.
Bob is going to be. Now, I'm just saying this. Bob is the next guy. I'm telling you now, he's the next guy. He's that good.
He's gonna have to be the next guy, because Palmer's the
Foden's 23?
Yep.
Yeah.
I was looking at the under 17 Three Lions team, and I was chatting in another chat, and they were talking about how most of them are City Academy prospects.
Yeah.
And now I'm gonna agree with X. I think Cole is next. I'm not going to count Cole because I was talking about City, but I think Cole Palmer has a chance this summer to really make some waves. He has because I don't know, and you obviously we'll talk about that with Arsenal. I don't know how serious the Saka situation is, because I don't really know, because I was shocked that he wasn't in the lineup, but Palmer really has an opportunity to make some waves this summer, man. Huge opportunity.
I think soccer should be fine by the Euros.
They're gonna need it, but yeah.
Because you look at that team. If you got Kane, and me personally, I would play Palmer. I think I sent this to you. Palmer and Saka as the wings, with Foden, Rice, and
Bellingham
in the middle. My God,
that would be unfair.
My God.
That would be unfair.
Kane on top.
My God.
Dude. If England doesn't win the Euros, it's a disgracia.
It's so stupid.
It's-
I mean, the
yeah.
only thing that really lacks is that back line. But
Even
if
then,
if they call up who they're supposed
Just
to,
don't even,
if Southgate
don't
would
even
get
play
off,
defense.
if Southgate would get off of his
I'm telling you.
horse,
No, but-
the back line to be fine. James
So-
is supposed to be healthy. We got Stones.
is Reece healthy?
He'll be
Yeah, but
healthy
he didn't
by
make
Euro.
the
Yeah,
provisional.
he got the red card. It was a red card,
Yeah.
not an injury.
Yeah.
No,
No,
he
yeah,
didn't get the
make
provisional invite though.
He'll,
Oh, really?
Really?
He'll make it.
Yeah, he didn't make it.
I thought he made it. I thought that.
No,
He hasn't
Reece
played
and
any. He hasn't
Sterling
played any.
Didn't get invites.
Oh,
Sterling,
Yeah.
Sterling.
Rashford didn't get an invite.
There you go. There
Oh,
you
yeah,
go.
I think they're going to play Trippier and Shaw.
That
But-
was-
Well, if
and
we're being honest-
McGuire and bro.
But if we're being honest, this your back line, you play your back line like this where you play Shaw, because defensively Shaw does what you need to do. You play Stones, you play Walker, and then you play Trent and invert Trent.
Yeah.
Play it back.
You play those three in the back, and then
Yeah.
your team is a monster team
That's
because
dumb.
Rice.
That's
Because then
stupid.
you have Rice and Trent playing next. That's the lineup. That's the
Trent's
start.
not going to play
dumb.
defense anyway.
Southgate,
Trent's gonna play
Southgate, we'll
Yo,
do your work
tune in,
for
bro.
you,
We
Southgate.
got
Yeah.
you, bro. We'll win you a Euro. You can
Yeah.
go down as
But here's
English.
here's the thing, man. Here's the thing. Nobody can predict what Southgate is gonna do. If only Gareth Southgate could do predictions like our predictions league winner.
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing your 23-24 Predictions League winner and two-time Cup Chasers champion, Mr. Patrick Rademacher.
That's fantastic. Am I the only one here now?
Speech.
Speech. Okay. First off, I enjoy doing this with y'all. I don't know what it is about picking games because Vegas keeps killing me when I try to pick anything else. But yeah, I can't believe it's 2-time. I really thought that y'all would catch up, and I don't mean that as a slight, but I really did think I didn't do too well this year. So, but yeah, I look forward to going at it again, and kind of taking a page out of Lewis's playbook. You know what? I got to focus on what's ahead of me, and I think y'all beat me next year, but you never know. So.
You never do know. Congratulations, sir. Absolute champion.
You got two.
Destroyed it.
You got the double.
Destroyed it.
Yep.
He won by 24 points in the end. It's like a whole week's worth of games.
Whole
That
week's
is.
worth of-
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness
You
gracious.
can get what,
man.
30 in a week? So yeah, it's pretty close.
Yeah, definitely. Well, since Patrick's on top, X, there you go. We'll move it on. Poch has departed. The Bully Shore continues. After a strong end to the season, I would say. But of course, in true proper Chelsea fashion,
Proper Chelsea.
there's the door.
There's never a dull moment. I'm telling
Oh
you.
man! Just when you think things have steadied and the ship is like, and we got a direction, they're like, you know what? No, bro, we needed you. So Posh read the script wrong. They sit down. Don't make Europe. We can't afford it. We cannot afford going to Europe. We're gonna get FFP and everyone's going under. And Posh is like, make Europe. Got it. Check. And they're like, bro, there's the door. We told you to tank the last 5.
You
but
had
the season-
one job.
The problem was he thought he had an entire season to check up points, but then all of a sudden the season ended, and he's like, "Oh, I won my first 8 games, bro."
Hey, the season did start just a couple months ago.
Just
for
a
you
couple
guys.
months
Back
ago, a
in
couple
what,
weeks ago for
April?
him.
Was
Yeah,
April?
for
I
him,
think?
it was April.
Yeah, it was April. Yeah.
Bro, I mean, I get it. I was Posh out for a long. I mean, I felt like he had redemption arc there at the end. I feel like he really did turn it around and earned his spot to at least stay. But I also understand with the managers that are available in the pool right now, we might be able to snag somebody better than Poch.
I think
if
like
you can't run if you can't run the marathon, bro.
Plenty of former Chelsea managers, and you guys love recycling.
But I don't think it'll be any of those. Just based on things I've listened to today and whatnot. And honestly, somebody made a really good point. 5 weeks ago, people were ready for him to go.
I was
5-0 to Chelsea. Or 5-0 to Arsenal.
That was a sackable offense immediately.
That was sackable to begin with.
Gone.
Did he have a redemption arc? Yeah, he did. But the question remains: why didn't you invert for now? That was supposedly the fix. Why didn't you invert for now?
No Enzo.
I think honestly, taking Enzo out of it, I think that clash between him and Iqbali specifically, but also the board of playing Gallagher as much as he did and forcing him into the team over and over and over again. I think that rubbed them the wrong way.
What got him sacked? I truly believe that's what got him sacked was the issue over Conor Gallagher's not his playing time, his future, and his transfer market.
Most definitely.
I think that is the road. I think Poch died on that sword. I truly do.
I agree completely. Based on a lot of things that I've heard today, that was a real stickler.
I think Poch died on that sword.
Yeah.
Because they already had it in their mind. They're selling Connor. We've known that. We've, as a fan base, I don't like it. We've known that. And he went in there and fought tooth and nail to see if he could get it to change. And they were like, go, bro, Tuchel did this about us going into a locker room. You think we're going to balk at you over $50 million player? Bye. There's the door.
No, it's pure profit. And Clown Lake loves him some profit.
We do love profit.
We have to have it. We have to have it.
The funny thing is that end of the season run that Pochettino had is going to be perfect for him to go somewhere else. Because rumors that he's going to go
United,
United
or Bayern.
I'm being honest. If you send him to United, he would actually make them decent. I think he would make them decent because the thing about it is that United would give him that freedom to do like what he wouldn't run into the Chelsea thing. Because
you sure about Ladinos? Because they seem pretty.
They spend
not Ineos, but the Glazers don't care.
They spend.
They don't care. They have waterfalling. They have fifth largest waterfall in England, as my boy pointed out during championship week. Fourth largest one. That's even worse. Fourth largest waterfall in England. They don't care.
But think about it. When Mourinho was there, when the happy guy Ole was there.
Moyes.
Who's the angry guy after him?
Rangnick.
Yeah.
Rangnick?
No.
Ralph Rangnick.
No, the Dutch guy.
Van Gaal.
Van Gaal.
Louis Van Gaal. Yeah.
Van Gaal was there, and now with Ten Hag, they all had guys who did exactly what they want. At no point did someone say Ten Hag wasn't doing what he wanted. Everything that's happening there is on him. And they never
Garnacho or Sancho.
But
Anthony.
You might be able to question who they selected, but they never stopped him. They never stopped their managers from doing what they wanted to do. Right. The manager had carte blanche, which is why Ronaldo got run off, because they said the manager's priority. That's literally why Ronaldo got run off. So,
but
the club is what
we also didn't have the Enos side of things in play now. Like Radcliffe sounds like he's very heavy-handed right now.
He also sounds like he don't know what he's doing.
Well,
it's United.
This is where I think
Hey, Poch should be used to that, though.
But he should also benefit from that.
Poch doesn't know what he's doing half the games.
No, but here's why. Because Pochettino can literally be like, hey, look what I did to close out their season. Look how good I am with young people. You're saying you're selling off 3/4 of the guys that are there. So I'm starting over with a young team. That means my expectations are not going to be through the roof. It makes sense to get a development guy to come in that knows how to win with those guys in the Premier League. This is literally what he did moving from Southampton to Spurs. It's the same thing. It's the same.
I don't know if United's going to be that patient with him.
But but the thing is, he'll get results because, I mean, he'll still have a core. Like Bruno is going to be there, Højlund is going to be there, Rashford is not going. It's not like he has bad players.
No, I mean,
Right.
We can discuss the merits of Rashford if we really want to.
But here's the thing: when Rashford, but while we can discuss it, we know this: if he's on, he's on.
Yeah, exactly.
And so all you got to do is get him on. And it's because he's probably not going to the Euros. That means that you can spend the whole summer with this guy and work with him. I don't see why he couldn't turn it around where they finished 8th. I guarantee you they finish higher than that this year, the next coming season. So anything he does is going.
Let's hope not.
I mean, we're going to be honest, right? They're going to finish higher than that. So if you look at that, that's a house money job for him. It's really house money.
That's fair.
No manager who has his profile, like another person, even though he would never take the job. I'm saying never like I know him, but I think, another person who would be great for that job, Vincent Kompany. Kompany would be perfect to put in that job. He'd never manage there, but he'd be the perfect manager to put in that job. I'm saying it out loud, because if we're looking at managers who fit the profile for the players they have, for what they're doing, Vincent Kompany put in the system that he was trying to do at Burnley, at United. United is 1,000 times better.
Well, that's what they wanted. That's what they wanted Ten Hag to do.
Yeah, but you saw he didn't have a game plan. Vinny stuck with his. They lost, but he stuck with it because they couldn't defend.
Oh, Pochettino doesn't know how to defend. That's for sure.
Swiss cheese, bro.
Well,
he's the perfect guy for that job.
Well, first off, I've also seen that he's linked with Bayern.
I'll manager swap. I'll manager swap all day.
But so I've seen that. Who knows? I think that he cleaned up some of his image for sure after the whole PSG debacle. But I also think that his style was not conducive to what the club is wanting to do. It's come out, they're looking for somebody who's possession based. What was the other main thing? I think strong defensively, possession based, because we got a lot of technicians. I sent it to y'all. That guy.
I saw
great follow on Twitter, by the way. But EPL scout or something. I don't remember his name, but we do have a lot of technicians, and I think the issue was we still couldn't break down a low block. We still struggled. I mean, somebody made a really good point. Like, if it wasn't for a 3-minute span against Forest, that's a loss. We looked terrible against Bournemouth, like horrible. Like, I watched that game and I watched it.
You did try to give that away,
huh?
In the end, you tried to give it away.
We tried to give it away. I watched that game in disgust because we looked absolutely horrific. And I didn't think we deserved to win, truthfully.
If they had anything to play for, we might have.
Yeah.
If Golenki starts, maybe.
Yeah. But I've been Poch out since January.
The loss in the cup, bro.
The 4-2 to Wolves,
bro,
at the bridge.
And when we lost, it was embarrassing. Like, it was just how we lost. Every time we lost, it was embarrassing.
Yeah, like you felt like anytime, and there's actually some data on this, but pretty much any time an opposition side attacked us, it led to either a goal or an expected goal instance. Mm-hmm. Like, it was insane. Anytime I saw a team coming down the field to our box, I was we're not give up.
Oh, it's about we're about to get our juke out of our shorts.
That's what it felt like. And
it's I'm like the goalie in the big green where he's standing there and he keeps imagining like these knights on horses and stuff coming at him, slinging flails around.
That movie's great. But yeah, I mean, so yes, it is a season review. Yes, the back end of the season was positive for sure. But if you take the whole season into consideration,
It's abysmal, bro. We should still be in 8th place.
Let me ask you this.
You got so lucky the run in at the end.
Since popular opinion is that Enzo's influence, whether for the good or bad, was very important over the whole season, do you find it a piss poor excuse that I've been playing with a hernia for 8 months? Or do you look at, say, the trainer or the coach and be like, who let him do that?
exactly.
You know who?
If that's a real excuse, who let him play for 8 months with a hernia? Who decided that was a good idea?
Yep.
And
Let's spend $100 million. Let's spend $100 million.
How could that have changed your season?
Right. Let's spend $100 million or $80 million on an Argentinian that does not have that great of a record, but we're going to bank all this money on him and then let him play injured an entire season.
Yeah, I mean, that's what everybody's like, well, it's Enzo. Okay, we'll find out for sure.
I jokingly say, I think it's a bunch more parts. I jokingly say it's Enzo because I feel like we bought I think like we just bought copies of each other and we don't need that.
I would be more worried that like Lavia is a copy of Caicedo, and
I think that's
I think
more likely
Enzo.
than anything.
My problem is if we play the same. Well, we won't be playing the same system. We won't be pressing as much. But like,
no,
it'll be different.
Oh, absolutely. Enzo's not going to press like Connor. So the only place to put him was in the back side of that.
Yeah. Well, it depends on who comes in, doesn't it? Obviously.
Yeah.
Tuchel, baby.
But they're definitely gonna
bring back Tuchel.
The powers that be are immediately going to be like, okay, Enzo's got a minutes quota. Let's go ahead and get him back in the squad. Like immediately come the new season, right?
Yep.
I don't know. I mean, but okay. So let's back up though, right? So, and this is where Pochettino truly lost me, and I've said it a million times. I'm going to continue to say it. This is where I was truly lost when we let Ian Maatson go on loan. That's where he lost.
And he's now in a Champions League final.
He's in a Champions League final, and now he's wanting to leave.
I was about to say he's not coming back either.
He's not coming back.
He wants to stay there, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's not coming back.
So, because the issue is okay. First off, you played Chilwell as a left wing. Like what? Why?
Twice. More than twice.
You played Colwell in 4 and a back. It wasn't 3 center backs. You played Colwell as a left back in a 4-back system.
As a left back for literally, you want to know why we lost 12 games at the beginning of the season? Patrick, bro, all over it.
And that's my point. Like, I get injuries. I'm not excusing injuries away by any means whatsoever. But you had the talent to fill in, whether it was Shalaba, whether it was Daddy Shield, whatever it was, you had the talent to fill it in. But you were more focused on playing Chilwell as a left wing instead of playing Sterling there so that you could have Jackson and then either Madueke or Carney or whoever in that right side, or you put Carney over there and you play Mudryk, whatever you decide to do. Ben Chilwell does not need to be a left wing. Honestly, Ben Chilwell probably should not be with the club anymore. But that's another, story. But
Sadly, I agree.
When you look at the talent that was available, and yes, there was injuries. I'm not going to excuse those. Those did affect things. But you look, you're like, why are we playing people out of position?
That's not yet.
Can you?
That was the litany over and over and over again.
Every week, bro.
And that's why I laugh when people are like, I can't believe we got rid of Pochettino. Do y'all not remember the first of the season when we had players playing out of position and just getting
Patrick, our season
destroyed?
started in April, bro. No one remember. That was last season. That was last season.
That was last year.
Maybe that's why he came out and said it was a new season.
My man was so bad. Literally, I've never had a manager be so bad in our season that goes, you know what? you know what? Our season starts today.
Clean slate. Let's just forget about everything. Let's get one of those Men in Black memory erasers, and let's just forget about the beginning of the season, guys. It never happened.
Never happened.
But I do think with the talent that we have established, probably what we'll pick up in the summer, I don't think it'll be a lot. I saw something about a goalkeeper, a striker, maybe 2 center backs, which makes me think they don't think Fofana's.
I was going to say, I think that might be
really
a career.
I thought he was good when he was healthy.
He
was. He is, but this is his second knee. Yeah,
he's just not going to recover.
I don't know. I mean, if you think
at least not to the level.
You're losing Silva,
right?
Right, you lost Silva.
You have to replace him.
You have
to.
I don't agree in selling Trevor. I think that he should stay. He's too versatile. He can play right back.
He can play the whole line. He can play the whole line.
He can play the whole line except for the left. He's not so good on the left.
He's not. He's 2 right feet, man.
Yeah, exactly. So I think you shouldn't sell him. But if you do, then of course you are looking for 2. You're looking for a goalkeeper because I don't think they feel comfortable with the 2 that they have. Kepa's coming back, but it looks like they were trying to sell him.
They'll sell him immediately. I thought Petrovic did okay this season.
He was okay. But he's not a 1. He should be.
We gave Kepa more chances than Petrovic, and Petrovic is better than Kepa, man. I feel like we should give Petrovic at least. I like him. He's confident in the air. He's young. Anyway, I agree.
So, but what I saw was 2 center backs, a striker, and a goalkeeper.
Yep.
So I think that's the moves, but. To finish the season, we did great. Happy about it.
Happy with it.
We have something to actually play for next year.
Do you think that you, under the circumstances, especially surrounding your team, but also in the rest of the league, that you kind of got about as high as you could expect? At the beginning of this season, after having finished 11th or whatever, 12th or whatever 12. It was.
12th.
And then the start you had was abysmal.
Yep.
So to finish 6th, I mean, I'm shocked. I know that much. Spurs tried to Spurs it up.
Could have had top
maybe
5,
you could have had 5th. But, I mean, for a pretty bleak outlook at the start, 6th is kind of high in the table, I feel like.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, though, and I'm not going to do, Cole Palmer didn't. Somebody's going to score one way or the other. Somebody will slot in, maybe not to the level that he scored, of course, because that was more of a historic season overall for somebody of his age and whatnot. I think that Cole Palmer is why the expectations changed.
Yeah.
I think the expectations were, let's improve. Let's show that we can get to Europe. And then when the whole thing came down with, losing the City for the FA Cup and FA Cup semi, and then losing to y'all 5-0, it was like, you now have to make Europe. And, yes, that was achieved, but I just think too much bad had happened prior. That and again they seem very hell-bent on having a team that is possession based, stronger defensively, which I've got no issue with. And can we please, if you're gonna hire somebody new, can somebody just teach them how to break a low block down, just a little bit? I'm not even asking to be perfect about it, but just give me a chance sometimes when we go to Leicester next year and they play low block and we just don't sit there and kick it into their feet the whole game.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, we need a 9. Jackson's.
I mean, my only point is you were never finishing ahead of City. Obviously, you were never finishing ahead of Arsenal and Liverpool. While we expected them to come back, I think they were a bit stronger than people expected. And Villa, we knew were going to be strong as well. So maybe there was a fool's hope of Champions League at the beginning of the season. X was probably thinking, but I'm just saying, like, I think he's done really well.
Yep.
And it feels like he's leaving more so than
he got a lot of, but Jake, he got
that
a
was
lot
pretty
of.
much the thing. He decided to leave.
He got a lot of help from the league, though, bro. Like, look at.
I'll give you that. United were terrible. Newcastle had more injuries than you've ever seen.
From 10th to 6th was literally in 2 weeks.
Brighton.
They immediately were. They were really. I think at one point it was 18 points between us and Spurs.
It was crazy. It was something crazy.
Well, I mean, I said it. When we were talking that one time, and Jake's like, I mean, if you get to 40, you're good. And I said, we're going to be over 55. And Jake laughed. But I mean, if you looked, at the run in, you're like, I mean, if we can get it together, and what could have been? We drew to Sheffield on the road.
Freaking
we drew
Sheffield.
to
Burnley at home.
And Burnley at home.
10-man Burnley at home. I mean, what could have been? That's 4 points. What could have been?
We were still in Europa. It doesn't.
Well, I mean, we're still in Europe, but
City's gonna smash. But top 5 sounds better than top 6.
That would have put us 67 points, which we would have been 1 point off of Villa. Then I think. Yeah, we would have been 1 point off of Villa. So I mean, who knows? Maybe we get the win at Villa. I mean, that was a draw.
Yeah.
I'm just saying there were certain situations to where it was like, if we just play to this level, we're going to continue to move.
That's what I said all last season. I mean, he pottered it, bro. He pottered it.
Yeah.
This is what I said all last season, bro. We just need these 2 games, get the bounce. We play Bournemouth and Brentford, bro. Absolutely not. We just get absolutely smashed, smash cake to the face. End up in Europe. Like, I mean, I think because it was so close that they don't feel comfortable. I felt yes, he did leave. I think it is they opened the door and he was like, yeah, I'll leave before you walk me out.
Yeah,
it's
pretty much
for what Clear Lake, and I feel like it's too close for what they wanted. We should not be contending for possibly the last place in Europe if United go on to win this FA, which they won't. But if they do, now we go to conference.
Mm-hmm.
Which conference
at that point they may turn it down.
A conference will screw us over when it comes to FFP, which I will wholeheartedly again die on this hill. That's why we lost that final.
Just not even play.
We could turn it down. I want to say Juventus did that.
We can't go. It was screws our FFP because we're too close. Europa is the only one that's profitable for us.
Like to travel and whatnot.
Champs. Yeah, Europa and Champs will be a profit for us. Conference League would put us in a bad financial situation.
We can't.
So unless you won the tournament, you would lose money on it.
Yeah. To get to FFP, first off, right? Be FFP approved at that level.
Yep.
And then throw in that it's going to cost more than what we would profit.
And ticket sales aren't going to be anything. What are you going to charge? You're going to charge over $12-13 to go watch Chelsea play some
on Thursdays.
Third division Thursday
in Poland.
Turkish league.
Right.
Yeah. You're having to travel back to Azerbaijan, to Baku, to that stadium.
And Sweden and
Finland. Playing Molde, playing Erling Haaland's hometown.
Exactly. So I mean,
we have to donate the quarter. We have to play at places where we have to donate the quarter flags to have a game. Like,
you're bringing nets.
We have to bring
nets. All stringing up the
net.
Yeah. Goodness gracious.
But no, I mean,
10 game balls. We got you. Don't worry. We got you.
We have plenty of balls. But also, what it affects is potentially sponsorship.
We got 3 back, right?
Huh?
We got 3 back for next season.
I don't think it's the full-on church sponsor. I mean, the shirt sponsor. I don't think it is.
Just do the blank shirt again.
Is it the side? I know 3 got a sponsor somewhere.
So the side is going to be a Chinese company, Chinese grocer, if I remember right. It's something like that. 3 might be the training tops because Travago is no longer training.
Gone. That might be what it is. I saw hey man, we're recycling stuff. Mal's coming back, baby.
That's what y'all do, bro. That's what Chelsea do.
Yo, we get 3 back in Mal's 3rd run. Yo, it's lining up, Patrick. It's lining up. We get 3 back. It's Mal's 3rd run. We stop City's dynasty. Put Mal in there. We win the league. Arsenal bottle it again next season for us. I love it. I'm here for it.
I'll have whatever he's having. That sounds like.
But what I will say is Chelsea may be going to Jordan brand as well with his Nike, which would be a big deal.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
That's a huge deal, though.
I don't like
lots
it.
and lots of loot.
How you gonna put a basketball player on a football kit in England?
Yo, X. Just look at what Adidas has done to Arsenal kits for the last 3-4 years, bro. You don't just take Nike. Trust me.
It's Jordan. We have Nike. I like our Nike.
Have you seen the new kits for Arsenal's next season?
I don't want to be playing at the park and trying to figure out which pickup game these boys are going to. Like,
it's not great. It's not great though. But
what
are you saying, Lewis?
It would be a big deal marketing-wise, and I figure that's what's going to happen.
It is.
Absolutely.
Well, and that's more American brand, which is right up Clear Lake's alley, bro.
Well, Jordan brand, it was on PSG, and they sold a lot of different they sell merch. They sell a bunch of merch because, they're a casual person, and they always make like 5 kits for them, and they're normally fashionably nice. So
they are pouring out the club, bro. That's all they're doing. We're just England's PSG. We're never gonna win.
That's what you've always done. Well, what are you saying, Lewis, about the Chelsea season as a whole? Any thoughts?
I give them a lot of credit. I know you were looking for it, Jake, but I know the Premier League put it out like how many points were gained in the first half and how many were gained in the second half. And I think Chelsea was 4th, if I'm not mistaken, 4th in points that they gained in the second half. So it was a huge turnaround for them. There was a lot of sort of discombobulation of figuring out what they're going to do and how. Chelsea's biggest issue is, and just listening to you guys and seeing what's going on, is that the Clear Lake guys want to do it like Roman, like they want to have like that power kind of thing like Roman without the people Roman had around him. And, that's the whole, you think money fixes everything. This is why the money argument about winning in sports is silly. But I think they made good progress. I'm expecting them to sell about 4 or 5 guys this summer to get some money and get themselves right. They for sure need a striker, but for this season, I look at Jackson. I know he doesn't want to be the second guy, but that's what he is. And, I think if they get a good seasoned striker, I don't think they should get a young one. If they get a good veteran striker to teach Jackson, I think that'll help Jackson because he clearly has quality. It's just there's something missing in sort of positioning because his positioning is often off and just the finishing, and that's composure. And I think about it like this when Aguero worked with Jesus, right? Like when Aguero and Jesus was together, Gabriel Jesus played a lot better. But when Aguero was gone, it went away with him. And so I think it's important to have that seasoned striker to help him. I think Cole is going to be an amazing guy. I'm not really sure where they're going to play him. I guess they'll keep him on the wing because I believe he's a winger. But, I mean, he's played in the 10 and all that stuff. I think he's a great winger. Just the style that he plays. He sort of has that free roam kind of similar. He's not this, but similar to how Hazard started, where he can just kind of go where he wants. And I think Chelsea has a lot of good young players. And if they bring in someone to develop cohesion, because it's not about the skill. The skill is there. and they'll figure that out from a simplified game. If they just simplify their strategy, I think they won't be asking guys to do things that they don't need to do. Your importance, you need to get a striker and you need to get a solid 8. And I think your 8 kind of fixes a lot of that, because if you can get a guy like I think they said, what his name, Wirtz? No, not Wirtz. What's the guy at Leverkusen?
Florian Wirtz.
Yeah. If you get a guy like that, or a solid like 8-10, or like a hybrid of those roles, who can kind of just run your park, I think that fits it. I mean, Caicedo is your Fernandinho run over people guy, but he's not gonna facilitate stuff. So you need an Odegaard type of guy to play in front of him, or De Bruyne or something along those lines. If Chelsea can get that in a striker, I think they're fine everywhere else. I think there's just youth, and they need to make sure they put Reece James in bubble wrap, and make sure he's just he doesn't.
Can he play in bubble wrap? Will they allow that?
He could.
They need to give him one of those big bubbles, one of those big balls. You know how I was telling you, X, I wanted to play soccer in the
dude who got hit by a car.
balls,
yeah, that guy. Yeah.
And then you get flying away. Just give Reece James that, and then no one else.
But I think they're fine. Even on the keeper side, I mean, they have they always find talent. I think X and Patrick have both said it. Their academy produces quality guys. They clearly can scout and see youth. But it's time to have a mix of guys who know what they're doing. But I think Chelsea will be fine.
That's what. Honestly, if I had control of the signings, and I know the whole Clear Lake image, I know the view, I know the long run history, bro, I would go and sign someone like Modric. I would sign someone like Kroos. I would sign someone.
No Kroos. I just got a text. My buddy Asif said Kroos is gone. He's retired.
I would sign someone like proven in the midfield. I would honestly try to pick up Dybala from I would try to pick up some of these very well seasoned individuals like Thiago when Thiago came in
all the time.
And they don't. They just need to be there to solidify the glue in the locker room. Hey, this is what leadership looks like. I've been in the game. I've played in big moments. Cool your jets. We're in a final. This is what you have to do. This is what you have to think like. This is the before, the after, the during. To just teach the mindset of what it takes in the game, because that's what Jake talks about with Arsenal sometimes is, we play young because we are young. We're all growing up together.
You know who would have fixed your midfield? Kova. If you had kept him, you'd have been different.
Bro, look, if you want an old head to bring back to the club.
Or Georgie. Yeah.
Your boy just got called up for France.
And
bring him back. Bring Conte back. He's still doing it.
And it's being honest, because look, like for example, Kova in City earlier, that's him figuring it out. But Kova was like literally a rock there, man.
Once he learned, I mean, he took in the same thing with his first 2 seasons at Chelsea. Weren't all that grand. We won stuff, but they weren't all that grand. When he learns your system and he knows his deployment, he's a brute, bro. He's a dog. He's got that dog in him.
In retrospect, looking, if he stayed, that would have done wonders for your team. If you kept him, it would have been very different for you.
Caicedo and Enzo could learn from him.
And then it would have allowed them to move around. He would have protected them. It really would have been. Now that I'm looking at, that was a big loss. That was a big. Yeah. He left for 20? It was something next to nothing. But it's just what you need.
Kovacic.
I think
he left for cheap.
I think you need somebody like that. You need somebody to just bring it back and say, hey, you don't need to play all the time. I just need you to teach these guys this part. Because they already have the physical ability.
Yep.
Well, I mean, my hope was
that bring Lampard back. Say, hey, Frank, you know what? We'll suit you up for 1 season. We just need you in training with these guys.
Yeah.
I was honestly hopeful that Kroos was not going to retire and that we were going to get him on a free and bring him in for a year. I could have seen something like that actually happening just to kind of help the midfield mature a little bit more. But, I don't think you'll see anything done in the midfield. They really
You
like
got
Ugu.
midfielders coming out your ears.
Yeah, they love Ugu. I mean, every time he's fit, they play him, and I love Ugu. I think that he's got a ton of potential, and he's big. Like, dude, like I at one point on Saturday or Sunday, I thought he was one of our center backs because the dude is big.
Massive.
So I think we're good midfield wise. It's just going to be defenders. I mean, I really do hope that we sell Chilwell. I think we can get some money for him because he's English. I
British
hope
tax.
you sell him, huh?
British tax.
British tax, exactly. Like one of these Ipswich or somebody like that would buy him. To have a name player and whatnot. But I agree with you, Lewis. They need somebody that would help them mature.
There's a guy. I forget who he played for, man. I think I'm looking at PSG. I'm trying to find him. There's a midfield guy that's available that used to be like the guy, but I can't.
You're talking about Verratti.
Verratti.
Yeah.
For real? Yeah. He's available?
I think so. See, that's what I'm saying.
No
All they need is one guy.
There you go.
Just to manage that. They don't even have to play all the time.
Shoot. Well, it's definitely going to be a big summer for Chelsea. New manager on the horizon. Hopefully that happens soon.
So I just saw.
That's
what I was going to mention. I just read on Twitter. This was about 3 hours ago. The plan is for Chelsea to have a manager in place within days, not weeks. So
Tommy Tuchel, baby, let's go.
You need to, because if you don't get someone before the
window opens, that's
the
insane.
Euros, if you don't get someone before the Euros, it's gonna be August, and you're gonna be scrambling.
Well, so McKenna is being linked with us, and we've talked to him, but Brighton's further along with him.
I will go break some kneecaps, bro.
Get Zerbi.
No, again, I will break some kneecaps, bro.
X just wants Mourinho. He just wants recycle.
Bro,
just bring Mal.
Bro.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Bring him back.
Bring me back Mal.
That's not going to happen.
Mal? He's won a champion. He's won us a title both times.
Amarim and Honus, who was at Stuttgart.
Yeah.
I was reading up about him today because that's the first time I heard his name. Did you know he brought them to promotion last year, and they finished second in the Bundesliga this year?
Yeah, Bayern dropped to third. I saw that.
That is wild.
Yeah.
Is there a City fan in the chat? What is this? Who is that?
There is.
What?
There he is. Champions again. Ole.
Do they have like Section 20 UI? Does that mean you've actually got season tickets?
Is that where your seats are? Is that what that is?
That means they probably were on the pitch.
There is, yeah. Yeah, that's what's up. Did you invade the pitch?
That's awesome,
section?
man.
That is awesome.
I thought I heard that it was not going to go well for you if you invaded the pitch, but then a bunch
Everybody
of people
was on
invaded the pitch anyway.
So it's like, what are you going to do with everybody?
Did you see Doku had to run like away from people?
Yeah.
They had like all their citizens on facial recognition on
I was
domain and stuff.
I was crying. I wasn't watching the celebrations. I was crying.
Did you and X watch it again?
Yeah, we were.
Yeah, we switched that off immediately.
Yeah, we were on the bigger and better things.
We were immediately on to different things, But speaking of the Arsenal, we did have another season of improvement. Yeah, it was. It was indeed. Another season of improvements. No, I didn't. They went on too early. Yep. People. I saw the one guy try to run and he smashed his face into the board. So I had a good laugh at that.
Yes,
He tripped out of the stands and smashed his face in the board.
Well, I saw players were yelling at them because they were kind of trying to come home before the game was done.
Yeah. I saw that too.
Yeah, the players got mad.
But there were no such celebrations over at the Emirates Stadium. I think that it was another unique experience there on the last day. Being in it, there's still being hope, still being a chance. It's another another learning curve for the boys, and we looked nervous. And when it was a crazy atmosphere, but North London Forever was hardly done echoing through the stadium when Foden City's already up 1-0. And in this day and age of technology, everyone knew it. A lot of us, they should have waited till the whistle blow. Yeah, we definitely agree. The fans over at the Etihad should have waited.
Act like you've been there before.
Yeah, for sure. It's only the fourth year running. Come on, guys. Let's figure it out. But I definitely think that the fact that everyone knew in the crowd that Foden had already scored, and then the second goal went in, and we were just kind of deflated, and so it was a nervy performance.
I will say it was funny though, the fans that thought that West Ham had scored twice.
Oh yeah, when it was 2-2 for like 12 seconds, people were freaking out.
I was freaking out.
Yeah. Dude, the bike from Kudus, man, that got me excited.
Season.
That was probably the most excited I was all day. Throughout all the games when Kudus hit the bike, and me and X were
Caicedo's
freaking
half-field
out.
banger, bro.
Yes, Caicedo's half-field banger was bad. It was awesome as well. But I thought that in the end, we were able to finish the league off with a win. Good to see, despite kind of a shaky performance, which you can kind of expect, as it was their first time ever being in a game like that. And we had a lot of firsts this season. I think at the end of the day, Rodri's right. If you look at all of our where we dropped points, it was a straight up lack of mentality. How do you give a goal on a corner kick in the 84th minute against 10 men? Yeah, at home, no less. Yeah, okay. It was the third game of the season. But if we don't lose that if we don't lose that goal to Fulham, we win the league. So it's just a matter of, yes, okay, we kind of started the season slower, and it seemed like we wanted to have a whole lot more control and kind of had the handbrake on for a while, it seemed like, at the beginning of the season. Section 20, I wanted an emotional roller coaster. I wanted there to be an Aguero moment for us. But yes, dropping 6, not beating Fulham, not beating Villa this season. Very, very bad for the Arsenal.
And letting Mudryk, get a point,
Letting Mud Dog score the best goal of his entire career.
Well, the thing about it was, here's another reason why, and I've been regular with giving Arsenal credit. This season was also a different one for growth for them for the following reason. You said they started off slow, which is true, but here's something else that you didn't account for. But I know you're aware of, is that while you have those other results that were happening, last year you were sort of running it and you were only focused on what City was doing. This year you had split vision because you were worried about Liverpool as well. And so you had a second team where you couldn't fully focus on City. So because you couldn't fully focus on them, it fractured your focus. Because if you think about it, when we talked about when you all played Liverpool, there was like last year's Liverpool game wasn't the same as this year's, because this year's was like, man, this is affecting the title challenge. And so now you had a different sort of parity that existed there, because Liverpool was on top of the table for 4 weeks in a row. If I'm not mistaken, it's 3 or 4 weeks.
They were on top of the table for 80 days this season, the longer than anyone.
Right. And so,
right at 12
so you think about it, we have to really account for, you say, well, how did Arsenal lose it? But it wasn't really that. It was more of, there was other factors there. So now when Arsenal last year had honed in, We're focused on City. And that's what they did. And, I mean, I'm not going to take it from them. They took 4 of 6 points from City. And that's growth, even though the 2 points
you're exactly right, bro. I couldn't.
The 2 points that they didn't take is obviously the difference, but Liverpool played a factor. And Liverpool playing a factor was huge because in the year before it was something you didn't account for because there was nobody else. Liverpool was garbage the year before. And so if you account for that, you're like, well, you can't use the same metric of last season because they didn't have to account for a third team. If it was a 2-horse race, then that's a different race. But when it's 3, because Liverpool didn't fall off until like the last 4 weeks. So they were there for most of the race and they were leading towards the end. So you're like, God. And then City and Arsenal both drop points and they're like, well, is Liverpool going to win this? And that's when they were not mentally there because theirs was about sending Klopp out on the highest note. So it wasn't even about winning. It was about something else. And if their focus was on winning, then it changes.
So got a question about that then, and not taken from the Arsenal segment by any means. But if Liverpool loses the Carabao Cup to Chelsea, does their focus become more on the league at that point, you think?
Absolutely, because think about it. They were in Europa and they were fine. They weren't really worried about it. But once they got that first, we got this, the desperation went away because they thought everything was just going to fall in line. Because the way they won that game,
they were given it.
And so that it, and think about it, that's when we were like, oh man, this is the Klopp retirement tour. So it was in their heads that was going to be the sequence. And if you look at the games after that, they played that way. Because there was these 3 games after that, they were like, hey man, why are they losing to this team? Because they were in cruise control. Is what Jake and I get it. There was jest and seriousness, as we said before, where Jake was like, City was in cruise control, right? But it's 1,000% true. If Chelsea wins the Carabao Cup, Liverpool might have won the league. Because
or at least the Europa League.
Well, here's why I'm saying I think they might have won the league because they were pushing just fine. But if they didn't get that first cup, the anxiety of are we going to get any cup would have been there.
We got to send them off with something.
And I think the best evidence.
Something.
The best evidence is the league game at Old Trafford.
Yeah.
Well, also in the FA Cup, they were super complacent in both games.
Terrible.
Well, they were just complacent in the FA Cup game at Old Trafford.
Yeah.
And that in the end is what got them. But, it's about that mentality. If you're going to win in this league, you got to have the winning mentality that Pep has and that Rodri was speaking of, And I think for the Arsenal, we lost it in a week because of mentality. Now you can go back and you can do your ifs, your buts, your maybes, and you can look at the Fulham game. You can look at losing to West Ham at home. You can look at, if you want to be crazy and say, Arsenal didn't go for it at the Etihad and maybe we should have. That was a fantastic point. You'll never convince me otherwise. That was a fantastic point. You can look at where we lost that away to Villa. None of those dropped points matter because at Villa, yes, absolutely. City are used to the pressure. That's absolutely right.
It's not
They've
pressure
been
to them
so
now.
many times. It's not pressure. Exactly. Arsenal went to the Emirates to host Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich didn't have any fans. And at that point, the Premier League was in our hands when we were hosting Bayern Munich. So not only do we have a giant of European football who is in absolute plane crash mode, they don't have any fans in our stadium, but we didn't have the mentality to smash them like we should have.
Nope.
And because We didn't. I will never. If you want to do the ifs, ands, buts, and maybes thing, if Benny Blanco puts us up 2-0 against Bayern Munich, I think we win the league and we go to the semifinals of the Champions League. I think we lose to Madrid, but I think we smash Villa. If we beat Bayern, I think we smash Villa, and I think we go on to win the league.
Well, I think there's two things to kind of consider. So first off, I think actually things started to turn just a tad when you didn't beat Porto on the road. Because you looked abysmal in that game. You had no shots on goal, and then you come home, and I understand
the same mentality. It was the same fragile mentality.
It was, and I mean, I know Porto played a game that was not very conducive of trying to actually win the game. Right. They were trying to get to penalties, and you know 100%. When I said that City was buoyed by beating Chelsea in the FA Cup semifinal. I feel like that would have buoyed y'all after you got past that initial, like, okay, we're now past the round of 16. We're now in the quarterfinals. Like I would have thought that would have buoyed y'all to, okay, now it's all in front of us. But it didn't seem like it ever really clicked to y'all. And then when Bayern came in,
Mikel was scared to lose.
Well, I got another point. I heard this the other day, and I actually didn't recognize this about City, but I think it's something it's valid, right? People talk about City's depth, right? And City's not a big team. People like to talk about that, but the depth isn't in the size. The depth is in the diversity of the skill, right?
Yes.
So you have players who can play everywhere, and so you go Gvardiol, who clearly is probably a world-class center back, plays left back. And you got guys playing all over the pitch. Foden, who clearly is probably an 8 or a 10, is on your wing. Bernardo, also on a wing, but is also an 8 or a 10. And you look at that, and the issue that I think exists for Arsenal, and I'm not telling you what to do, maybe and I would think Arteta would see this, is that Arsenal lack enough guys who can hybrid into other positions. And when I say that, they can hybrid into other positions where they actually are competing for time. Jack Grealish was the glue last year for the treble team. Jack Grealish couldn't get on the pitch and was healthy for the last 2 games. Nathan Ake was a stalwart at left back all of the last season, and Gvardiol found the form. You don't have enough guys who can play everywhere because injuries happen. And what Pep has done to circumvent the injuries is saying, hey, I'm going to put you in another position that I know you can play. You don't have to know you can play it. I'm telling you, you know how to play it. Go figure it out. And so then you have guys playing in spots and you're like, what? And it all started with John Stones inverting into the midfield. The second he did that, and then we saw, because think about it, we talked about this last year and this year. Akanji started doing it, and we're like, well, Akanji is not as good at it, but you can't get Akanji off that field. He was in the run out because Akanji could play anywhere across the back line. Mm-hmm. And so the thing is you have to have more players who can play across those things and say, you know what, man goes down, it's good. If Saka goes out in the game, and we've talked about this, I think it was Trossard we might have been talking about. We're like, he's great as a sub, but he's not a starter. And so you have to fix that. Or is that right? Or am I saying it back?
I'm gonna let you finish because I'm gonna disagree with a whole bunch of what you just said. Go ahead.
Sure. And so I think the issue is that your replacement guys can't replace in multiple spaces. And I'm not saying they can't, but it's just you see there's a significant difference. When Kevin and City dealt with it last year when Kevin De Bruyne went out, and they had to do it all this season. And I think that's something where you have players who have that quality, but it's not in enough spots. And I think if you had it in more spots and you brought in maybe 1 or 2 veterans, because I think another thing, and I mentioned this for Chelsea, I think while youth and sort of that spryness of being able to move is great, without the veteran, I've been there true leader, because you just can't get a veteran guy who just I've been on a team like and not I'm not gonna I'm not insulting Zinchenko or Jesus. Those guys were veteran guys on a City team, but they were passengers. So you need a guy who wasn't a passenger come into your team to be that guy that says, well, I don't need to be on the field all the time. I want to be, but I can accept why the manager does that. And I think from hearing that, I think that's what you're missing. Because I think, like, for example, I think Tomiyasu is one who really fits the profile of what I'm talking about. I think he's really good at that. But then I feel like in your front side, it's more so where it's missing. Yeah.
I hear that. Firstly, City have one of the smallest squads, but literally every player in there is phenomenal. So yes, you have a smaller squad, one of the smallest squads, but all 19 of your guys start for every team in the league. Okay,
it doesn't really. I mean, come on, man. Philly Foden takes that curve so far down for a squad.
Look, all of your depth is really, 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 really strong. That's why you don't need to have a huge squad. Secondly, I'll go ahead and address this. Section 20 UI, it does take a healthy dose of luck to get to win in the latter stage. Dortmund has not been awful. They've been fantastic. They've defended well and they've countered well. I've watched all of their. Okay, maybe in the league
for sure.
Maybe in the league, they definitely haven't lucked themselves into the final. They've been the better team in the. Hold on. They've been the better team on the way there, but I don't want to get sidetracked in the Champions League. Where that translates to Arsenal is that we had no experience in the Champions League, like Dortmund does, like Bayern does, like City do. We didn't have that Champions League experience, and so we approached it with a scared mentality. Now, Lewis, to your point, I'm going to disagree. Mikel Arteta is trying to do exactly what Pep's doing. Ben White was a center back and moved to right back. Tomiyasu is a center back with the captain's armband in Japan, for Japan. He plays center back as the captain, but he plays left back for Arteta. We were trying to play Gabriel at left back at one point at the very, very beginning of this season. Zinchenko himself is actually a better midfielder. Gabby Jesus can play right wing and in the center, down the middle. Who come in when Saka didn't play against Everton? Martinelli comes to the right-hand side. Trossard can play on the right, the left, and the center. And I'll disagree with you about him starting because he locked down the starting position for the last 10 games of the season. For the last 8 games of the season, Trossard started.
Because it wasn't Trossard, it was somebody else then. Because
even when Jesus come fully back from injury, he couldn't get back into the side. And when Martinelli got dropped, he couldn't get back into the side because Trossard was playing so well. I think he had a phenomenal end to the season. Look also at the players Mikel has gone for. Jorginho has even played in the left 8 and in the 6. Declan Rice plays in the left 8 and in the 6. Flippin' Kai Havertz, even though he shouldn't be playing in the left 8, tried to play in the middle as well as up top. Literally every 100%. Player that Arteta goes for has multiple positions in him. Jurrien Timber was a center back at Ajax. He will be playing left back at Arsenal.
Yeah, but the last
that's who
I was talking about.
Who he's going for. Trossard can play all 3. Havertz can play in the forward and in the 8. Jesus has played all 3. Martinelli plays in the left and the right, and he played down the center a couple of games last season. Saka's the only one that doesn't go across and play different positions.
Yeah, well, the thing, I get your point about the capacity to do it, but so they all can do it, but and I know this is sort of.
That's why I'm saying Arteta is trying.
Yeah, and I agree. I'm not saying he is not trying. I'm saying, but you need it because at the same time when we're talking about that, but they're not. Yeah,
I get it. They're not Alvarez. They're not Doku. I get it. I understand. And to piggyback on that, the next guy in the squad is flipping Eddie Nketiah, is Reece Nelson, is Fabio Vieira. these are the next guys in the squad where City's bringing on Kovacic, City's bringing on Oscar Bob, City's bringing on Rico Lewis, and I'm bringing on Amy Smith-Rowe.
But I think that, and you mentioned this too, and you've asked the question, and I think again this goes to the point. You've asked the question, why are these guys on the team if you don't play them? Whereas Guardiola stuck Bob in there. I mean, and think about the game when he came in, he had to play in a critical game. And he was like, I'm ready to go. And you have to believe in them. You can't have a young team and then don't play the young guys and just let them be, right? Because the thing about it is that you have certain guys that come on and you're like, okay, he's good, but he's a sub. For example, when we talked about Doku early in the season, we were like, okay, Doku will be a dynamite super sub. He'll kill anybody when they come on. Doku came and then he got found out, became a sub again. And then now you're like, okay, he's figured it out, and that now you're like, he kind of needs to start, but he had to get there, and it's about consistently challenging. And I just feel like Jesus, man, I love him because he was blue. I understood why he left, but he's a better wing than a 9, and he kept getting played at the 9, and he's a creator. But for Arsenal, a striker fixes so many of your problems. Yeah, it fixes so many of your problems.
I think that Havertz is a fantastic backup number 9. I think Jesus, honestly, where I really think happened is he has not recovered from the last knee thing, and you can see it. He doesn't turn as quickly. He doesn't get off the line and accelerate as quickly in those first couple of steps. He's just the injury has really lost it for him. And I hope we keep him. I hope that he becomes the backup for Saka. So we have Martinelli, Trossard on the left, Saka, Jesus on the right, Havertz. Plus, we need to buy a starter, someone who is a better finisher than Kai Havertz. Now, section 20 here, yes, Havertz has been an excellent signing for Arsenal. When we first signed him, remember, that was the very first thing we did. That was like June 2nd, June 3rd, like right out there. That was the first thing anyone did in the entire transfer window was Kai Havertz to Arsenal. And everybody laughed, me included, because the season before, we were you remember when we started this pod, he was one of our first targets, absolutely ripping him, dude. And so, yeah, but I think it just goes to show, as Arteta has done over the years at his time there, he's improved the players. He improves as a manager. We've improved overall as a team. Each season, we've gotten better and better and better and better. We've more wins than the Invincible, more points than we've ever had, save one team. I think, yeah, it's about not being able to get over the line. It's about the mentality for those that, want Arteta out. And there are a fair few in this ridiculous fan base that I'm a part of. It's about being impatient. It's about the fact that, Pep being around is not an excuse, and people don't want to wait for Arteta to get there. I think he can. I think he will get there. I think it's very possible we win something next season. I think that a lot of people who level criticism at Arteta about not taking the cup seriously are not really looking at our cup exits. We played the champions 2 seasons ago, and we're the better team with a weakened side. And then we played Liverpool this season, where we should have won. We had a billion chances in that first half to score, and Kai Havertz decided not to show up and score that day. And which is the story, which you can't Arteta bought Havertz, and therefore and backed him and continually backed him and backed himself to improve Havertz. But in the end, that was supposed to be the signing that got us over the line. That was supposed to be the Haaland signing.
No, Rice was your Haaland signing.
No. Rice is not a
Yes.
goal scorer.
No, Rice was you didn't need a goal scorer, was the idea, right?
We
Like,
still need a goal scorer.
But Saka didn't put in as many as he did last season. Neither
Yes,
did Martinelli.
He scored more this season.
Did Martinelli?
Martinelli didn't. Martinelli was awful this season. So was Jesus.
So was Gabby. Right.
Both of their returns were terrible.
So that's what I'm saying. If all three of them perform the same suit and you solidify that midfield, I don't know, right? I just feel like it was Rice, not Havertz, bro.
Rice was meant to solidify our defense. The point of bringing Declan Rice in and playing way more controlled was because last season he
had to do both
boom,
jobs.
boom, 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 boom. It was bam, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Balls to the wall. Holy crap, let's score a bunch of goals. Exhilarating, exciting, high octane stuff. And we gave up way too many counterattacks. Way too many counterattacking goals. And Arteta recognized that. So Declan Rice was meant to plug up the counterattacks. Having Willie Saliba for every minute of the season also helped. But
I was going to ask you about that. Are you concerned that all this time this year is going to affect them next year? Because, I mean, you had the two highest minutes played in Saliba and Gabriel. If I remember looking right.
And they're going to play this summer too.
I think they're going to bring in. Well, I don't know. Deschamps don't really like Saliba, but I think they're going to bring in. I think they'll bring in another center back. They're probably going to bring in another midfielder, and please sign a striker. Please sign someone who will score goals. But I think at the end of the day, you look at the season as a whole, and I think it was a very good season. Once again, they've improved, done better than we did pretty much in everything last season. I don't know if we won a Carabao Cup game this season or not, or did we win an FA Cup game? Regardless, it improved on both of those from last season. I think we won an FA Cup game and went to the second round, the next round.
I think you lost to Liverpool.
The energy drink special was we lost to West Ham. That was the game we lost at home to West Ham. And It was an absolute debacle. But I think that, as long as they go again, everyone stays healthy. If we can keep Jury and Timber healthy, it'll be like a new signing.
It will.
And I think that they've learned, they've got the experience, and I expect them to do even better. I also expect City to be better.
Oh yeah.
So it might, saying that we might hit 90 points next season doesn't mean we'll win the league, because I expect City to improve as well. And that's just is what it is. You can't, credit to them for being so good and making the league have to be, the standard so high, and I think that Arteta has certainly learned a whole lot and I think it's time. And I think I think he'll get it done next season. I think what he's learned in the Champions League is invaluable. I think what he's learned in the run-in is invaluable. I think what he learned on the final day, as far as those nerves, that's a unique situation, so that's once again, more experience for these guys. Everyone's a year older, as far as the young guys. Jorginho re-signed for another season. So there's that, experienced head in there, plus, like I say, Declan Rice, tons of experience and even more now. Odegaard's got a whole another year of experience. So we're still there. We're still right there.
I think if I'm Arsenal, and I'm being honest, right? If I'm Arsenal, I want to win the Carabao Cup next year for the following reason. It's super important.
Never done it. Or haven't done it in a long time.
Well, not only that, but because the Champions League has changed, right? Because it's changed, there's a different dynamic to it because of the way and who you're going to play. the consistency will be closer in that. And I think for the Arsenal players to get, and because the final is so early in the season, but it's right around the start of the second half, if they can win that early next year to get that feeling of winning, because I think that's what they're missing. I think they just need the feeling. People are like, well, that cup is not important. But if we take a look back at Pep, what was the cup that he used and they consistently won all the time? And they're like, why is he taking this one seriously?
Didn't you win that 6 seasons in a row?
5. But
5.
But the thing is they took that cup seriously because you got to get the feeling of winning early. And so for Arsenal, because you've been this close, my personal opinion is that, and I know this sounds crazy, you go to win the Carabao Cup. You start the season to say, you know what? We're going to break this season down into 2 segments. Go win the Carabao Cup first. You win that first. That means that you have to be in impeccable form to that first half of the season. So that, and you've already shown you know how to finish. I mean, because think about it. All the points that you said you dropped were early. They weren't the late ones. They were the early ones. If you go to win that cup first, you get that title lift, a new title, not the FA Cup that you always win, right? You got 1,000 of them. If you go win the Carabao Cup, the No One Cares Cup, it matters because now that group is like, we won a final. Once you win a final, there's at that point, all you have to do is summons, what did we have to do to win that final?
Yeah.
And you're not on a farewell tour. You're with a young manager, and that young manager is going to be like, remember when we went to Wembley?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, people don't – I think people are missing where, people was like, oh, that doesn't matter or whatever. When City won it a bunch of times, but when City won it a bunch of times, what followed that? That run followed it.
Yeah.
And think about it. United, how did they propel themselves up to where they were last year?
Up to 3rd last season. Yeah.
But how did they do it? They won a title. The only reason Liverpool fell off is because Klopp's announcement, which we all speculate, and we did it on here, that wasn't supposed to come out. If that never comes out and they win that title, I think Liverpool makes a run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kept it a lot closer.
You got to win that. I know it sounds crazy, and people are like, well, it's not important. Here, it knocks out 2 things. 1, you haven't won a trophy in a while. Now you got some silverware. Those guys know what it feels like to have the medal on their neck and
the winners. Yeah, it's a winner's mentality. That's all it is.
It matters. You have to win.
Still in them, right?
Advancing to the next stage of a competition is not winning it.
Right.
You got to win something, and I'm telling you, if you guys can win the Carabao Cup next year, you're going to make a hell of a run next year. But you got to win that.
I hear you, and I definitely agree with the idea. I just think that Arsene Wenger never took that tournament seriously. Patrick, 1991, 92 is when we last won the Carabao. It was the Carling Cup at the time, I do believe.
The good old Carling Cup.
The good old Carling Cup.
But
so.
I'm not going to throw shade at that either. But if we look at Wenger, and I think he should have taken that seriously too. You win every chance you get to win. When City won, when they won the domestic quad, right? They won all the trophies. That mattered. People's like, oh, that's not real. What did they do after they did that? Like, people keep forgetting what follows those things.
Yeah.
You're saying, well, where does the winner's mentality is? Rodri told you. You didn't go for it there. And I'm actually saying this because think about it. When City won that Carabao Cup, the first time they won it, they didn't win the FA Cup. They won the league, but they didn't win the FA Cup. Win the first cup. You win the first one, it matters. It absolutely matters. I know.
As far as the group lifting something, I think that's very, very important.
It matters.
Yeah, very, very important. And I think they will. I definitely think they will. And I mean, if we take the Carabao Cup seriously, I think we can easily win it.
But you should. I'm going to use another example. Marcus Rashford. Remember the form he was on last year? Yeah. They won something on that. You
Yeah.
gotta win some.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hopefully, they can hopefully end the long trophy drought. And I think that you're right, Lewis. I think if they do win one, be it Carabao, FA, whatever, I think more will come. More will
Gotta
definitely
win one.
come. But yeah, all in all, fantastic season. No trophies, and that hurts, and I'm bitter, of course. But lots and lots of positives to take, and as long as they're moving forward and getting better and better and better, yeah, you want to win trophies, but there's always more to come. Definitely more to come from this group. And Mikel Arteta, I expect him to sign that new contract that he's been offered, and and continue on despite however long it may take. But that is for next season. There is, of course, one more game, two more games actually in the season, but one more that we're participating. You, I should say, Lewis, are participating in.
Only one.
Give a little preview for the FA Cup final. What are we feeling? What are we thinking?
Now, I normally have mental notes, but I actually wrote this down. I want to address something first before that. I know there's the jokes about the 115 charges, right? So
Sure.
I was compelled today to see. I want to see all 115 charges. I wanted to see them.
I've seen them. I know what they are.
And I looked at all of them, and here's the first thing I noticed.
It's non-compliance charges.
First of
A
all,
lot of them.
of the 115, 60% of them are repeats. So they're not even 150 different charges. 115
like four different charges.
It's 4. And so again, the narrative and the inflation of it is intentional, right? Second is, of those, about 40% of them are sort of pissy fits of, you didn't answer a question the way I wanted you to, and this is a charge. So if we're really looking at this, and so people are like, well, you cheated. And you say, okay, well, they didn't disclose how a sponsor gave this money or they were valued. Well, first of all, valuations are arbitrary, right? So how am I supposed to say, if this company says they're worth 20 million, I'm supposed to tell them they're not worth 20 million just because you don't agree? And so now you're going to say, because you don't agree, that's a charge. And because I said, hey, that's what they said, that's a charge too. And because I didn't answer your question when you asked me the third time, that's a charge. Are we serious? So this 115 charges that have been completely conflated are not 115 charges, one. And a quarter of them are from UEFA, which is something that was settled. So those don't even, and so I'm sitting here and I'm like, I'm tired of people, and they're like, so you're a cheat. So I'm trying to figure out what cheated is, right? Because then people are like, well, when no one cares because what they do on the field. But the intelligent people recognize that the players literally have nothing to do with it. And all of this happened before the current team that's on the field showed up. So I'm trying to figure where people are trying to discredit this thing that's happening, right? And so I'm understanding the narrative is this. And this is no shots at anybody. If City win the FA Cup this weekend, they will be 3 trophies behind Arsenal in total haul. And then the rest is all history FCs. And I respect the history FCs because I understand and respect history. I was a history teacher. And so when we look at this, if City is now within touching distance of the history FCs, when before all the fans were plastic and they have no history, what happens if you got rid of that narrative in 10 years? Now what do? What is your complaint? And so when those guys say things like, well, Pep will never be better than Alex Ferguson. Pep Guardiola has been a manager for 14 years and is number 2 all time.
18.
18. Is it 18?
He has 15 league titles in 18 seasons as a manager.
It's
dumb.
And he's finished, and when he's finished third once and second 2 times.
He's never finished lower than third. It's stupid.
And so for people to be like, that's money, well, I don't see how money is there because, again, who was picking up Akanji? Because people was like, Akanji? Who is this guy? Right? Ederson, who is this guy? Ortega, who is this guy? Okay, Haaland. Yeah, well, you got Haaland. De Bruyne is a bust, 55. Like, it's documented that nobody rated any of City signings. Raheem Sterling. And so then about developing, Raheem Sterling is, I think, the 4th leading scorer in City history. And then he went to Chelsea, and I don't know what happened to him. So I'm trying to figure out what the charges, which are completely inflated, and the team that doesn't have fans, because then when they showed the fans and stuff like that, it was very interesting that there were fans everywhere because people love to say, well, where have I been? I've never seen a City fan. You realize you stay around people who are like you? I'm just saying. So for me, I know a bunch of City fans, but you know who else I know? I know a bunch of Chelsea fans. I know a bunch of Arsenal fans, and I know Liverpool fans. You want to know why?
Sterling is second on that list.
Yeah, he's high. I knew he was up there, but I know the fans of those 3 fan bases. You know why? Because those are the 3 most historically successful franchises in the league. So of course they're gonna have fans. That's like saying you've never seen. If I go out the street, I can't believe I'm seeing a Real Madrid fan. You mean the most successful club in history?
The biggest club in the world.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Bro, you can go to Legoland and get a whole Bernabeu. Like,
I know, it looks awesome.
It's awesome, bro. I want one
I've
for
seen
the
the
bridge.
Lego Emirates. Hey, I've seen the Lego Emirates. It's pretty
They've
cool.
got the Man
Let's
United
go.
Lego one too.
The point that in the comment about being plastic because you're not there.
Nah.
Jake, while I know that it is your desire, you're an Arsenal fan.
Oh, yes.
I hope you have been to the Emirates, but I don't think you've been there. Are you not allowed to be an Arsenal fan?
Definitely not.
And
My own fan base has conniptions when I speak because I don't go to the games, but they have season tickets.
Patrick and X, because you haven't been to Stamford Bridge, or if you have, you're not there all the time. Are you awful people? Are you not?
We're not real fans.
No, because when they come here, I'll make it a point to go.
But no, seriously, there is such a hate right now for Americans from the club, from fans of the club, that we are awful fans.
Well, you know what? I will go Green Street hooligans on straight up in the alleyway.
The Cup Chasers firm. Bring it, Millwall. Let's go.
The thing about it is, here's the poo-poo, their whole thing about the plastic fans and not the real fans. I'm pretty sure all of us are opposed to the fact that, you know what, our plasticness won't even get to be plastic anymore because they're about to play league games in the States. And we don't want to see that. We don't want them playing here.
Look, this whole money plastic thing is dumb. How has any team ever been good in the league? Okay, Arsenal, let's look at most teams in our history, FC, and now I'm going to put, like I added Chelsea to it. Remember, we added a couple weeks back, we added Chelsea to history, FC. Now Man City has made their own history. Look at the decades of dominance that each of our teams have had. Arsenal in the 30s. We won three leagues back-to-back, skipped one, and then won 2 more leagues in the 30s. Liverpool had the 80s. Absolutely dominated the 80s. 6 leagues in 8 seasons, 3 European Cups. Are you kidding me?
Yep. Yeah.
The 90s, the 90s and the early 2000s. Man United every other season. Chelsea from 05 to 15. There's your decade.
We're the pre-teens, baby.
And then City have had their decade. What's the common denominator? What did Arsenal get called in the 30s? The flipping Bank of England club. It's all money, bro. How do you think any team ever has long periods of success? So if City fans are plastic fans, then all Arsenal fans are plastic fans.
Every
All
Real
Chelsea
Madrid
fans
fan
are
is
plastic fans. All Real Madrid are plastic
Well, I
fans.
think a great
Barcelona fans
example
are
of
plastic fans. Man United fans are plastic fans. We're all plastic if that's the way we're going to look at it. So that argument is absolutely stupid.
It's
I think
who
a great
stays.
example of
It's who
this is
stays.
Wrexham.
It's who stays, bro. Who stays with the club?
Right.
Who rides that time?
Yes.
All right, yeah, I had my
Yeah.
10 years. I know
Like-
we're never
like
going to
he
get back to
says here.
2015. I'm still a child. Like, bro, I hate Todd Boehly. I hate our owners. I hate the DNA of our club right now. I'm not ever getting rid of this flag. I'm not ever getting rid of these badges. I'm not ever getting rid of my jersey collection.
I just keep buying more.
That's it. That's it. Because,
They got
because
you.
when we
They
finally
got you hook, line,
when
and
we
sinker.
finally get out of the mud, when we finally dig ourselves out of this mud and we win another cup, do you know how much sweeter that's going to be than when Roman bought it for us?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I started following City the year they came back from being relegated and they got promoted back to. I mean, come on, man! Like it's insane. And I brought all that up because I live in reality that it's an FA Cup final. Manchester United, you play football on a field, not on paper. So is it possible they can win? Yes. So anybody who thinks they're going to walk them, I don't think it's going to be a walk because we've seen how derbies go.
It's going to be a walk.
I think you're
Derbies-
gonna bang.
okay.
I think you're gonna bang. What?
Derbies,
I think it's gonna be 5-0. Like
I think it's 3-1.
I think it's a derby, and I think that United has nothing to lose. They have nothing to lose. And so that means you can fly in with challenges and all that stuff and ruin everybody's everything. And there's enough where you can say, you know what? If I can ruin their season, I'm gonna do it. And that's enough.
So they're gonna go and ruin Chelsea's season is what you're trying to say.
If think about it, like think about how many seasons they could ruin if they win, right?
just pissing
so why
everybody off.
So I look at it, and I never ever look. Just like when we were on here, I didn't look at the West Ham game as a walk. I didn't look at it like that because I am the most pragmatic guy that understands you still got to go in between the lines and play.
Mm-hmm.
And if that other team punches you in the face first, and you're not ready for it, then you lose.
Every week is a different type of game. No matter whether you're playing 22, you're playing 2. Someone always has a chance to beat you.
Every time.
Ask Chelsea, bro. We'll lose to Sheffield real quick. They only got 11 points. Half of them are ours. Half of their points are from us.
They got one. They only got one against us.
I thought we lost against Sheffield.
No, we won at home.
No.
We
won
lost
against home.
We lost to Forest at home.
Forest at home. Okay, so a third of Forest points are from us. So you're welcome.
Yeah.
Section 20, you're absolutely right. You know,
Yeah.
just ignore them. Just ignore them.
But the thing is, it's so loud because it's annoying to me. Like, for example, Patrick, you said it whenever your team, and I think, Jake, you said it too. Whenever the team comes around here, you go, Jake. I try to be around Premier League football as much as I can. Me and Jake, we linked up, saw Arsenal play last year. You and Patrick linked up. You went to go see Chelsea play.
And we saw Chelsea, Brentford, Brighton, and Villa.
X is going to watch Chelsea this summer. I'm going to watch City this summer. I want to see as much of my team as I can because I don't live in the country. So somebody in Dubai and India, they're not real fans. And it was funny because Natalia was talking to me and she said, "Hey, have you ever been to Manchester City game?" And I was like, "I really want to go." And she's like, and her eyes open because I don't ever ask for anything. So because my plan is, my goal is, my hope is for next year, I will be in the cold with the snow and snot coming down my face at the stadium. That's because it's cold there, man.
Yeah, be you and 8 other fans.
For us,
there'll be 9 fans at that point.
There'll be 9 fans at the empty head.
There's 2 of them, so
and I'm cool with that. I won't have the New Jersey with the 0161 on it, but I will. I'll have a shirt.
For us, that's that's just our Mecca, man. Like for us, that's such a journey. That'd be such a haul. But yes, it's in the plans and the cards for every single one of us. Like I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just to kind of go a little bit further. I was a fan of Chelsea seeing them in person just strengthened it. You know, it wasn't. I didn't become a fan of Chelsea because of winning. I got lucky, and that was the case. I became a fan of Chelsea because of Didier Drogba.
Who the players were, who they meant to their country, who they meant to the world, who they meant for the moment, who they meant to the game. That's why. Yeah, right. Immediately.
Now I'm dealing with, let's get excited about sixth place. Like
Europe, baby. It's Europe. It's not sixth place. Quit saying it's Europe. Just leave it at that. It's just we're excited about Europe.
But I mean, if you didn't jump off the bandwagon last year, for sure, because there were times last year where you're
just a glutton for punishment.
You're just a glutton for punishment.
I've never been a masochist. This made me. I love the punishment.
Being a Chelsea fan qualifies. Being a Chelsea fan qualifies for that, though.
I felt honestly last year made me sympathize for the Arsenal so much. I was like, oh, this is what
you watch your mouth.
I was like, oh, this is what these guys have been feeling for the last 10 years. I feel so bad for them.
I'm telling you, man, Jake, I'm going to just repeat it. You go out there and win the energy drink cup, and I promise you you get a better season, even though I personally want to win the league because then that'll be – but, hey, man, I think a trophy early is so important. It's so important. But for the I think City win the game. Same scoreline Patrick said, 3-1. I think City win the FA Cup 3-1. They get a chance to be the first to do a back-to-back domestic double, which I think would be amazing. And then History FC, right? History FC.
Absolutely.
Sure.
I think that, maybe it won't be 5-0. I think that it'll be probably United will probably give you more of a game than they have so far in the other two this season.
Well,
I think they'll recognize they'll be say what, Patrick?
They're getting a little bit healthy now too.
Yeah, I think that they'll be up for it. I think Rashford will kind of be pissed that
he didn't get picked. Yeah,
didn't get picked. So we saw what that did for Tony, last time out. You definitely have to enjoy it while you're going through it there.
And
section.
Another thing is that you haven't seen any United videos of them flying kites. So they're taking it seriously.
Hey, they're taking it seriously. They're not actually flying kites in training. That's new.
No kites.
I didn't know City's opponents were allowed to not fly kites in training. But that's we'll tie that in a bow and leave that in this season. Hopefully. Hopefully we can keep that left in this season. But
and the
FA Cup final
next week, right? The Champions League is the following weekend, right?
The Champions League is the next week.
I'm excited about that. It'll be interesting. I forgot about the whole. I really did forget about it, but just thinking about the narrative of Bellingham
getting to win it at Wembley.
Yeah,
and Dortmund making more money than Madrid
exactly.
does.
That's world football for you.
Yeah. Hey, we make $5 million if they win this thing. I'm all for Madrid, baby. That's gonna help our FFP out even more.
Somehow, Dortmund are gonna make more money by losing, and Chelsea are gonna make money if
$5 million.
What?
Yeah.
What?
But 115 charges, right? There's nothing funny about
all charges, man.
Oh my God.
I was looking for a specific article when we were talking, or when you were talking earlier. I saw that they're going to handle it in the autumn. Who calls it autumn? I call it fall. In the fall, and that there will be a decision in 2025 on those.
It's just like the charges are literally goofy, man. They're all goofy.
Yeah.
It's sad that it's actually like 20 real charges, but they want to magnify it, which they miss because it makes them look bad. Because now it looks horrible because when City are exonerated, they're gonna be like, "Oh, you let them go on up at 15," when you could have just been like, "We let them go on 5." You see how that
But it's the English media. They like to sensationalize things. I'm sure Section 20 totally understands what I'm saying.
I
read some of these articles and I'm like,
it's 5 charges, man.
What?
5 charges.
You know,
it's only gonna get crazier too. The environment itself and everything. It's only gonna get nuts. You know, and I think this summer is gonna be wild.
It's gonna be insane.
I think there's going to be a lot happening. There's already a lot happening. I mean, Poch gone, De Zerbi gone. You know, De Zerbi's moving, Tuchel's moving. You know, there's going to be a lot of movement.
De Zerbi's going to go to Forest.
What?
Yeah, I heard that today.
That's the first I'm hearing of that. Wow. Well, there you go.
That Forest is looking very heavily at bringing on De Zerbi, and he is.
Wow.
He came out with some weird comment about how he wants a club that will buy players for him, and that he wants to be back, unlike he was at Brighton.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, man, it's going to be a wild summer. I think a lot's going to happen before the Euros. I think,
but it has to.
You know how Arsenal last season kind of we kicked it off really fast. I think that we'll try to get at least one signing in before the Euros, before the Copa starts. So yeah, I think it'll be real front loaded, and then we might see people who aren't at the tournaments maybe making their moves or whatever with more of a comfortable time frame. But yeah, and as soon as
we finally get the Mbappe news, finally finalized.
Finally, yeah. That's supposed to be like the day after the
window opens.
The Champions League.
Well, they have to. You think about it. The Euros and the Copa start right away, and then right after those finish, you go on your team tours. You have to have your players.
Not to mention, if you're playing in the Olympics, David Raya is going to the Olympics with Spain.
He might miss
the beginning of the season. He might miss the first 2 games of the season because of the Olympics.
Holy cow. All I want is to see the big years. Just let Madrid win so that we can bring the trophy with them, and I get to see it in person.
Play you.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Okay, Vladimir Kufal. Okay, Mr. Kufal. I'm just happy to see the Premier League trophy in person.
That was absolutely great. That was fantastic.
Bro, that's how you know they were going to lose.
He scored the second goal.
Oh, yeah, dude.
It was,
he's trying to get a winner's medal.
Hey, Calvin Phillips got a winner's medal.
Oh, my God, man. Lucky him. That's lucky.
He played half the season there.
Lucky. But yeah, like I say, I think a lot of wheeling and dealing coming up. Lots of action going to be here in the States. The Euros, Copa America. The Olympics aren't here; those are in Paris. But of course, definite. Lots of different. The Gold Cup. There's not a Gold Cup.
Yes, there is.
Are you serious?
Why would we play a Gold Cup and a Copa America?
Well, so there's a Gold Cup that we're going to send the B team to, I believe, because the way they set it up.
This is flipping ridiculous, man.
The way they set it up is they set up all the Copa games in the Eastern time zone and all the Gold Cup in the Western time zone. I'll check, but I'm
that's
like
95%
sure there's Gold Cup this year.
That's just stupid, man. Why are you playing the Olympics? Send a team to the Olympics. So we're sending the youth squad to the Olympics
or whatever.
So we're sending the youth squad to the Olympics. We're sending the youth squad to the Gold Cup, and we're sending the crap squad to the Copa America to get wrecked.
I may be wrong. There's another cup though.
That's crazy. That's just absolutely ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous, man. That's just stupid.
Tournament.
So get ready for another season of injuries. Just injuries galore. Stacking them up. Let's just get 50-man squads. Let's just go ahead and sign 30 more players per squad so that we can actually make it through a flipping season. This is ridiculous.
Expanded Champions
I may be wrong.
Expanded Club World Cup. Expanded to more.
Okay, so you got World Cup qualifiers.
Yep.
Just injuries. It's going to be worse than this season. Newcastle aren't going to have a prayer, man. They're going to get relegated. Flipping hell, dude.
We didn't even talk about the Europa League conference final.
No.
Oh
That's-
wow.
League Thursday?
What is
When
that?
is that?
That's Thursday. It's Leverkusen
it-
and
They're playing it on a
Atalanta.
Thursday?
I think so.
Hold
No.
on.
In Atalanta? Okay. Yeah.
It is.
Leverkusen, man, the dream. The absolute dream.
It's
The
tomorrow.
fairy tale.
It's on a Wednesday.
Oh, it's tomorrow.
It's on a
Yeah.
Wednesday.
It's tomorrow.
How do
There
we
you go.
forget that?
Well, because we're not in it.
And it's Europa. But hey, man, I'm rooting for Leverkusen to
I stand
or
corrected.
Yeah.
as you
Fire
say,
never loosen.
never losing. I'm rooting for him. I'm rooting
There's
for
not
him.
a Gold Cup this
Sure.
year. I stand corrected.
Yeah, okay. I was about to say
apologize.
that would just be ludicrous. It's already
Yeah.
ludicrous.
But the funny
Yeah.
thing is if Leverkusen wins this, they still got another game after it because they're
Is the Pokal afterwards?
I think the Pokal's after. I think it's still another game.
Pokal is Saturday.
Well, there you go.
Jesus Christ, man!
Hold on. Let's see. Pokal
Because I know they have another game after.
Yeah.
Saturday.
That'll-
May,
what'll
May
make 'em
25th at
50
2 o'clock.
51 unbeaten if they win. Both games. 51
Oh, no,
unbeaten and a treble.
I
In
thought
the
they were-
two.
I think it'd
It's
be
incredible,
50.
man. That's absolutely incredible, dude.
It's insane.
Yeah, it might be the Bundes Farmer League if you want to call it that or whatever, but
Well,
that's an incredible achievement. Dude.
they're amazing farmers because man,
Yeah,
for
Saturday they play FCK, which I guess is
Cologne, FC Cologne.
no Kaiserslautern.
Oh, Kaiserslautern.
Yeah,
Are they even in the
FC
Bundesliga?
Kaiserslautern.
well, it's the cup, so they might not be in the.
They might not actually. That might be a second division team.
Yeah, it might be.
I might be wrong. I might be wrong. My Bundesliga knowledge is not.
And then the Europa League finals against Atalanta, which that should be really, really good. I don't know. That Atalanta team has been fun to watch.
Yeah, Skamaka seems to have found his boots there, of course, but I mean, Bayern never losing, man. It's in the name.
Yeah, Bayern.
And Jake, you are correct.
99th minute, Bayern finds the winner.
You are correct. Their opponent in the Pokal is a second division team.
I thought so.
Not only
I
a second
thought so.
division team, they're second division and they're 13th in the second division.
Yeah, Bayern never losing for sure.
Yeah,
That's-
they just got to get past Atalanta.
My money's on the undefeated treble. Absolutely is.
I'm rooting for it just so it exists during my lifetime.
Yeah,
That would be
like,
awesome.
like section here says, it's a once in a lifetime thing. That's incredible for sure, But yeah, man, looking forward to a crazy summer. Looking forward to these last couple of games here at the end of the season.
Salute to Jurgen Klopp.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
Man.
Let's. It's I didn't actually watch any of the last game
I
there,
didn't
but
either.
I'm sure it was emotional. Final fist pumps at Anfield there.
I did see those.
As much as I'm, as a rival fan, happy to see the back of them. As a fan of the league, it's sad to see a legend go. And as much as I think, maybe he is a little bit overrated. I do think that to do what he did, to win the trophies he did against Pep in the same era that Pep was just, taking crap all over the league is incredibly impressive. And quite apart from that section, I agree with you. Just the banter, the antics, the personality that he was, it will be missed.
We never
I feel
cared.
like Slot's gonna be the same type like Pep. Like he's gonna be very in your face.
Yeah.
Or not like Pep, like
Klopp.
But I mean, will we care that he talks about the grass is cut the wrong direction or the wind is blowing or something like that? Like Klopp owned those moments, man.
He did.
I mean, let's be fair, people. They played more lunchtime kickoffs in Klopp's reign than anyone's ever played. I will say that. Facts.
Yeah, and for sure, I wish him the best, whatever it is. Apparently, he's gonna go be the sporting director at Dortmund or something like that.
Well, then everything he said in his interview was a bunch of waffle.
Oh, I love that word, by the way.
Absolute waffle. If he's just
Waffle's
going
a
to go
great
take,
word.
Is he going to go take another job immediately? Then he's just a bunch of
No,
BS.
but it's the sporting director. He's not doing the day-to-day stuff. Like he's not
As a sporting director. Don't you have? That's like a really intense job.
But I'm pretty
Like,
sure he's
he
gonna
can
hire
scout
people.
and stuff.
I would hire people, yeah, for sure.
Sure.
The legacy pick. It's Dortmund's legacy pick.
I think it's for him. It's less of I don't think he felt he could be in managing a game and doing the training anymore. I think that's what he was more tired of.
Yeah.
But hey, again, wish him the best. Congratulations to Arsenal. Solid season. Congratulations, Chelsea. Europe, like right? Europe.
Big,
Can't wait, baby.
big,
Can't wait.
big, absolutely. And of course, congratulations to Man City for the four-peat, for absolutely dominating the league. That's 7 in 8 seasons. Incredible.
I blame COVID. I blame COVID for the blip.
Listen,
100%.
COVID, I mean, Liverpool having to play, in empty stadiums. Come on now, is that real? We don't recognize mean seasons. I thought that was the case.
Hey, that season means way more to Liverpool than literally anyone else. Like that one will give you, that
I'm gonna
pretty
call
much
it the
does.
blip because that's when Avengers Endgame or one of them came out, and it was a blip. Then I'm calling it the blip now.
Yeah, absolutely was. Well, yeah, it's been a great season. I've certainly enjoyed it. It's definitely been fun, and Summer of Madness incoming, of course. We're definitely
just like the
looking forward to
players,
it.
we don't get that much time off.
Yeah, if you are looking forward to it as well, go ahead and get all the likes up on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Of course, thanks for being here. Thanks for listening, and you will see us next time.